Over here is the SMLE and the number 4 Mark 1 Lee Enfield. The SMLE is the one at the top. It was used primarily in World War One and in World War Two in the North African campaigns. The number 4 Mark 1 at the bottom is the most common rifle of World War Two. On the British side, it fires the British 303 cartridge, holds 10 rounds. The bolting mechanism is considered to be so good to the point where no matter minute it was made, it's considered to be one of the best bolt action rifles of the war, and is still considered that today, and especially as a hunting rifle.
Nice.
Over here is the Bren gun. The one on the top is a Mark 1, the one at the bottom is a Mark 2. I personally don't really know the difference apart from slight changes. But long story short, they both fire the British 303 again in 30 round magazines. Fun fact, in some cases in real life, the Bren gunners were only given about between 3 to 4 magazines. This is because to save on costs, the assistant would sometimes load additional cartridges into magazines individually in the field. Since magazines are a lot more costly than just loading them
in.
Yep. These do have AP rounds available in game. If you know what you're doing with them, you can pen a half track from the front with them, which helps you a lot. Over here is the Thompson series. I don't know why there's an MP28. I've never asked. But the Thompson series is a pretty good Thompson machine gun. It's fairly popular, especially these days. Criminal films, all that. Fires the American 45 ACP. Britain brought a lot of these as a stop solution to the SMG problem. I believe the mag capacity is about 30, and I forget the carry capacity of the drum. I think it's 50, but I could be wrong. There are, of course, different variants made. These ones are, I believe, are the most expensive variants, and throughout the war they got more cheaper. Over here is the Sten series. The Sten Mark 1, no one really talks about, but it is the first prototype Sten that eventually got improved. Why did we make the Sten? After Dunkirk, a lot of the Thompsons were lost to the Germans and etc. So what ended up happening was we now got a massive SMG problem. We need to now produce a SMG that is super cheap to be able to replace all the necessary people that need them. This led to the Sten series. With the most common one being the Sten Mark II, the one on the bottom left. It fires a 9x18 Parabellum, I believe, or 9x19, I forget. 30 round mag capacity, you load it into the side. I believe the cost was either, for every Thompson that was made, about 10 or 20 Sten guns could be made, which is a pretty good number when you just lost a bunch of your SMGs. Fun fact, since the bullets are also the same as the German MP40 and the likes, you'll be able to pick up enemy ammo and use it. The one on the top right is the Sten S. S stands for special, not silenced, but it is silenced, regardless. And the one on the bottom right is the more improved version of a Sten gun, becoming the Sten Mark V. I believe the ones that use them the most would be the paratroopers, but I could be wrong. And maybe Canadians, but I could be wrong again. And that's really it. Over here is the boys' AT rifle. This fell out of service quite quickly, and was later replaced by a Piat, but when it was used, there was a doctrine behind it. We don't really get to use it often, but in game it's kind of broken if you know what you're doing. If you get the chance to use them, come to me. I'll show you the best times to use them, as if you use it correctly in game, you can take out a Panther from the front. Real life you can't do that, but it's armor. Welcome to the World War II community. I forget what caliber it shoots. Over here is the Piat. This is the British solution to the anti-tank problem in around 43 or 44. While the Americans were using rockets to take out tanks, and while the Germans were making Panzerschrecks out of a failed ammunition project, we decided to get an explosive and put it on a giant fucking spring on a tube. It is still devastating regardless, as this means most of the round is filler of heat, which just makes it a little bit more effective. It also means it has no backblast, so you can fire it in the building quite comfortably. These are the MG 34 and 42, most common German machine guns. I don't know much about them apart from really the fire rate, to be honest. Regardless, and even in the hands of an AI, they are pretty devastating, as the suppression effect alone is usually enough to keep you down. Just like in real life, as they say, especially in the official training videos, its bark is bigger than its bite, as the accuracy kind of suffers a lot. Over here is the German anti-tank solution. The one at the top is the Panzerfaust or Faustbaton, depending what variant. It is disposable. Don't believe what Call of Duty Vanguard tells you. It is not reloadable. It is a giant warhead on a tube, essentially. It does the job pretty well. The one at the bottom is the Panzerschreck. The Panzerschreck, fun fact, the ammo was designed first. The ammo was made for some sort of artillery AT gun thing. That project failed. I forget why, and they just had a shit ton of the ammo lying around, so they decided to do something with it, and that's when the Panzerschreck was born. It is bulky as hell, but goddamn, this thing has an effective range of about 300 to 400 meters if you know what you're doing with it. It is pretty devastating and fantastic because of that. Over here is the Kar 98K at the top and the G41 at the bottom. The Kar 98 is considered to be a fairly good rifle, possibly one of the most template rifles you can come up with. 5 rounds, fires the German Kurz round. I forget the dimensions of the round. Considered to be one of the most template standard bolt action rifles of the war. The one below it is the G41. They got a bit jealous of the Lee Enfields, kind of. So they decided to make a 10-round self-loading rifle that can fire in semi-automatic. 10 rounds, like I said. The G43 is pretty much the same thing with slight variations and improvements. These two fellas on the right are the Germans will be fighting. The one on the left is a German squad leader. You can tell because he has a MP40. He is holding a vest with an MP40 mag vest and a map. And the one on the right is a Fallschirmjäger. You can tell because he's still wearing his pajamas.
Nice.
Here are the freeze machine guns. We don't really get to use them often, but they're here regardless. This is the Vickers. People don't like to use it because it shakes a lot. I'll show you that later. But otherwise, it's pretty standard heavy machine gun of the British Army. This is basically a unnecessarily expensive Bren, but it's just more stable regardless. Otherwise, it's just an average Bren gun. And this over here is the American. I believe this is the 30 cal variant. It's nice, small, compact, pretty good weapon, I have to admit. The 50 cal variant, if you know what you're doing with it, you can pen a Panzer II from the front. Yeah, and that's really it for the museum.
Okay, that was pretty good. I liked it.
How it goes.